welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, these Great Lakes Honda City Studios, named after the only place that I've gotten a vehicle for over a decade. You can go and visit them at 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And you can get your sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I am picture in picture for this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom with Lori Gleason, who is here with us, the new Binghamton University head sports performance coach. When I saw this announcement, I was like, let's go, Lori. Let's make it happen. So we are here, of course. We are here inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. We are celebrating and spotlighting Lori to hear her story today and what it means to have her leading sports performance at Binghamton University. Lori, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. And first and foremost, I know I said it to you off the air and just said it to you in the intro, but massive congratulations on such an honor that you have now to lead sports performance for the Bearcats.
Thank you so much.
So I want to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
Bring me into how you first got connected to sports. Like, what did you play? What did you watch? Like, what brought you in to this world of sports in the beginning?
So when I was probably 3 or 4, I'm sure that's when I started because my mom started all of us girls. I'm the youngest of three daughters. And started in dance, did gymnastics. I did gymnastics almost through 7th grade. I ended up stopping because we ended up moving. I was born in New York, moved to Massachusetts, and then we moved back to New York going into my middle school years. And I started gymnastics in 7th grade and ended up stopping because I wasn't thrilled with the new place.
Okay.
And then I picked up basketball. I decided to do basketball, I think just because I played a lot in the summers at my grandparents. And then that became my love. I loved it. And obviously, like growing up, I always watched sports. My dad always watched NBA basketball. Uh, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, all that, Robert Parrish, all those good players, Michael Jordan, of course. So definitely grew up watching those teams, and then he always had golf on. My dad's side of the family are all the avid golfers.
Yeah.
So golf is always on till today. But yeah, I just absolutely loved being active. And when I got into high school, um, my uncle, my Uncle Mark, who was the girls' varsity basketball coach at the time, told me the summer going into my junior year that if I wanted to make varsity, then I was going to be going to the weight room in the summer at 8 a.m. And I said, okay. And I wasn't too thrilled about that at first. And so those mornings in the summer started off, it was myself and I think 2 other girls that were already on varsity. And so I went, I trained. I was not a fan of it at first. I would walk across the street from the high school to my grandparents and be just very, very sore. And I was like, what am I doing? Why is this happening? And so then, yeah, obviously I saw the results and felt like I was getting stronger, and I kept up with it during the school year, and also kept up with it during when I was at college. And when I went to Cortland at the time, so I transferred in. I went to Cortland in 99, fall of 99. And at the time, they did not have an exercise science program. They had, obviously, Cortland's very big on PE, so they had a non-teaching PE program. And I knew I didn't want to go in the PE route. Um, I learned about athletic training. I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do either, but when I went into the non-teaching program, I found out all these different facets of fitness and came to learn about the strength and conditioning field. And I was like, this is a thing. This is crazy. Like, I didn't know that that was a field. And honestly, strength and conditioning really came more so familiar in I would say in the 80s. So obviously it was fairly new in the collegiate level. Um, so I ended up taking an internship. It was, I believe, fall of 2002, and I took an internship at Marist. A pretty unique situation. My first day there was the strength coach's last day because he took a job, another
Oh,
job
wow.
at Towson University. Um, but again, I that was the first time of being in a Division I facility, and I was very naive to the field because I was obviously still learning and I just really didn't know the ins and outs of it. But the more I saw, the more I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I can do this for a job, like train these athletes and get them better and improve their performance. Um, so it was just very eye-opening for me. Um, and when I ended up finishing my undergrad, I took some time off, took a year and a half off, worked full time at GE in Schenectady. They had a corporate fitness center. So I just knew I needed a break. And so I lived at home with my parents and had a full-time job and knew I wanted to go back to school. So I went to Springfield College for my master's, went back in fall of 2004, and that program was specifically, it was a bachelor's. I ended up getting a bachelor's of education instead of science just because I didn't do a thesis.
Okay.
I did an independent study. That's the only difference, even though I was told my independent study was basically a thesis.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but um so my program was applied exercise science with a concentration in strength and conditioning. So it was very hands-on. Um, it was very I was very timid
Yeah.
when I first went there because I was obviously a little bit older since I took that time off. And um, I just didn't know how how it was gonna go. It went really fast, and that first year was, just a big learning curve for me. Just because I had that couple years off, and I just felt like I had to play catch up. Um, I ended up having a grad assistant position in the exercise science department, not necessarily in the strength and conditioning department. So I was very grateful that I was offered a grad assistant position. And so I was under a professor, had to have office hours, all that stuff. And after a year, I was like, I I don't want to be in an office. I
Mm.
need more experience in the weight room. So I turned down my grad assistant position for my second year.
Okay.
Not many people do that.
Yeah.
And my advisor and then a couple of my professors were like, "Are you sure about this?" I go, I need to be happy with what I'm doing, and I'm not happy. And if I want to be a strength and conditioning coach, I need to be having more hours in the weight room.
Yeah.
So I turned down my second year of that school
Mhm.
being paid for, and my husband, well, we were engaged at the time. He was like, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" I said, do you want me to be happy with what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that in turn, again, I feel like things happen for a reason. And with that happening, that spring semester, it was spring of 2006,
Yep.
one of the full-time GAs actually left and got a full-time job, ironically at Marist. Um, and then my advisor came to me and said, we'd like to offer you it was part-time just because of the semester lining up.
Yeah.
But she said, we'd like to offer you a part-time grad assistant position because you've shown great improvement from your first year. And previously, like that fall semester, I took on women's gymnastics, women's cross country. So I had a couple teams already. Um, but I accepted the part-time GA and I took on 7 teams. And if I didn't do that, I don't feel like I would have gotten a job as soon as I did. So that led me to Binghamton.
Yeah, and I appreciate you taking us through the story and taking us through the background and the journey that you've had here with Lori Gleason, celebrating the fact that she is now leading sports performance at Binghamton University. And to give a little backdrop to this, going off of what you said, you'll oversee the sports performance programming for all 21 Binghamton Bearcat athletic programs. In this role, you will lead 2 assistant sports performance coaches and collaborate closely with team coaches and student athletes to establish and uphold training programs and performance standards that support continued growth and development of student athletes. You made mention that since being hired as an assistant sports performance coach in 2006, you work directly with 7 of the Bearcat athletic programs, 6 of which have captured America East team championships during your time there. Within those 7 years, 6 of those programs have gotten America East championships, and you have worked with a track and field program that produced 1 NCAA champion as well as 7 other All-Americans during that same span. So I know that you're going to answer this in a way that is humble, but working with 7 programs at Binghamton University as an assistant sports performance coach dating back to 2006, 7 different programs you work with, 6 of them are America East champions, and you have an NCAA champion. You might have something to do with it, Lori. I'm just saying.
I take very little credit for it. I mean, these athletes are the ones that are putting the work in. In our role as sports performance coaches, we need to be just very on top of what we're giving these student athletes in the weight room and be very smart with the load, especially in season. So it's a lot of communication that comes into play between the coaches, our staff, sports medicine, and the student athletes. Like it really needs to be very much a full circle
Yeah.
of communication. So it is a true testament to their work and the effort that they put in all year. Um, it's very rewarding to see these student athletes and teams, especially these past 5 years, just really excel in their sport and what they're doing and being successful.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said you're a part of this, and you said, I'm a small part, but there's this working together that it truly takes a Bearcat community to get this done. Coaches working with student athletes, and both of them working with you and your staff. And, sports performance is a huge part of this because we look at injuries all the time and are things preventable? And there's people that I talk to in the world of, sports medicine, and they say to me, I'm not in a world where I'm trying to rehab somebody and get somebody better. I would like to be a preventative person that is teaching them how to keep themselves healthy instead of just reacting to the injury. Let's try and not let the injury happen. So working with student athletes and coaches and having 7 different programs that you've worked with at Binghamton, in this time period of being an assistant in the world of sports performance, what can you say about the give and take, the communication, and just how there is this working of coaches and student athletes and yourself? Like, how is the give and take, and how is, the partnership, so to speak, when it comes to a coach and a student athlete and you all sitting down and saying, okay, this is the best path forward, because obviously you got to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, so in the beginning, coaches and as sports performance coaches, we will sit down and have just a collective conversation. Like I just had one today with women's lacrosse coaching staff, just making sure we're all on the same page moving forward once they return this week to get their season going. And a lot of it comes to making sure volume as far as what I'm doing and what the coaches are doing are in sync.
Yeah.
Obviously, when teams are in season, that's their focus. Their focus is their sport. So we're here to make sure that they stay healthy and we're more, just keeping that strength and trying to help prevent any injuries that may occur over the course of the season. Um, so if anything, as far as practice, say volume went a little bit high in one of the practices, then I expect either the coaches or the student athletes to come to me right after practice when they lift, be like, hey, our legs are a little tired today. Okay, so I need to readjust what I have planned for that lift. So I'm going to readjust things, whether it's individually or as a whole, because, there could be certain, it could be maybe more the attack side had a more, challenging practice than the defensive side. So I just need to know specifics so then I can make adjustments. And, over the years, I've really have, done a great job, I feel like, with individualizing our student athletes programs.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I'm going to have what I have planned for the team when they come to see me, but if something happens at practice, like say a minor strain or something along those lines, like I need to
I think we lost Lori here for a
lower
second.
body for the day.
So you said if something happens in practice, you need to know. You cut out for a second. So what were you saying?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Yes. So, if something does happen at practice, then I will readjust and make adjustments to the that program for either the individual or anybody, if it's the team, I'll make adjustments accordingly when they come to see me. So again, it's just that communication factor. Maybe it's not the coaches because they're coming right in from practice. If they don't have time to see me, the kids are really good about telling me, or even the athletic trainer. So we all have a really good system because we all know we have to keep each other in the loop.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest thing that you're talking about here is communication, and we live in a world where we've never had more opportunities at communication, but sometimes people are so poor at it, right? It's crazy that we have all these avenues to communicate, yet we've seen that there's a lack of communication. How do you at Binghamton University, between yourself and the athletic trainer and the head coach and the assistant coaches and the student athletes, how do you have this positive communication bridge that you can keep going back and forth on? What can you say you've done at Binghamton as a team of Bearcats to essentially create open, productive, consistent communication? Because it is extremely valuable in any walk of life. And in your world, we got to make sure that the telephone game is the same at the end, right?
I think a lot of us there, have worked together closely for quite some time, so we know each other's relationships and we know what we need to do for the student athletes. And I just think like, our focus is them. So I don't want anything to happen on my watch. I know that. So I'm going to be very cautious with what I'm giving my student athletes as far as even if it's out of season, but um I would rather them be very smart with their load that they're doing, whether it's in season or out of season, and progressing them as I see fit. And again, I think that communication line is just something that a lot of us coaches have grown over the years to know that, we're all in this together and we want what's best for the student athletes. Um, and I just feel like we all, again, are in pretty good sync with each other, that we feel comfortable with, any changes that need to be made. I told Coach Stephanie Allen today, I was like, this is my plan for the first few weeks. With the girls coming back, I want to ease them in, even though I know a lot of them have put their work in over the winter break.
Yeah.
But I want to be smart. And I just told her, I said, if you see or feel that anything is a little too much, then you just need to let me know. Like, I'm here for them.
Yeah. I mean, and it really sounds like you can't have an ego, right? Because
No.
if you have coaches, student athletes, athletic trainers, or, sports performance coach like yourself that has an ego, then the communication's going to fail. There's going to be, fighting. Coach is going to say to do this. They're going to come see you and you're going to say to do that. They're going to go see the athletic trainer and they're going to say, why did Lori let that happen?
Mhm.
So, just bring me into that world of being humble, lacking in ego, and not making it about yourself, because at the end of the day, you all are there to help make sure that the student athlete is the healthiest that they can possibly be to do the task that they came to do, which is to go and fight and win games and matches and hopefully championships.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely been over the years, when I first started, it was challenging, and I don't want to play, the female card or anything, but it was being a 27-year-old female starting in a Division I school. I really didn't know how student athletes would, react to that.
Yeah.
And it was very challenging at first, and I definitely had to prove myself to a lot of these kids in the beginning, making sure they knew that I was there for them and I was going to push them as hard as possible. And when there's a time and a place to be pushed, and there's a time and a place to get to pull back, and our student athletes, they want to know why.
Yeah.
They want to know why we're doing things. They're very inquisitive young adults. And so being able to explain to them, like, this is the purpose of what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. And there's certain time and points in time in the year where you can push yourself, but then in season, I always tell my teams, we're not here to PR right now. Like, you need to be doing your job on the field or in the pool, on the court. Like, we're not here to push weights and PR.
Yeah.
That's your off season period. So, um, you know, we really need to educate them on those times of the certain times of point in the year where they are able to push themselves, and then when they need to pull themselves back, and just really, yeah, be there for them. That's why, we are there. And
Yeah.
um I don't know if I answered that well.
No, I mean, like you said, I mean, it comes down to the fact that you all have to work together and you have to communicate well. They have to know what they're there for. They have to know what they're doing. You hear from coaches that'll say, I can't get this person out of the gym. I can't get them out of the pool. I can't get this person to get off the court or get off the track or get off the field. And it sounds good, right? Because you're like, man, that's awesome. They want to work at it. They want to be the best they could possibly be. They can't stop, won't stop. Like, they're going to do everything they possibly can do. But that's great to have, and it's a great nature to have, but it's also part of your job as the head sports performance coach to say, hey, you need to let your calves take a minute. You need to not do legs today. You need to just have like a little mental health day. You just came off of playing 2 games in 3 days. I need you to go and rest your arms. I need you to just get some body rest. Or, you've been eating a certain type of food. I need you to shift into this. Like, you have to have conversations with people where it's not bad that they have that tenacity and that want to and that drive and that dog mentality. You just have to tell them, like, this is a human body and I can't have you run on empty here. Like, just like you charge your phone, you got to charge yourself.
Yeah, I've had many conversations with student athletes who, especially, over the summer when they're training and just if they're coming back from an injury, guiding them in the right way and programming for them, especially like for fitness. Some of them can get pretty intense and not give themselves a day. And I'm like, you need a day
Yeah.
just to let your body recover. And sometimes we just program those into their lifts. We're going to do a recovery day. We're going to do, some foam rolling, some stretching, mobility work.
Yeah.
And then, and make sure we get in the tubs. And, we always are constantly reminding them about the little things which will benefit them down the road.
Well, the thing is, like, people are creatures of habit, right? So you create good habits for them. When you talk about sports performance, we hear about nutrition. When people think about sports performance and they hear that, they think about like running and lifting. But there's all these other things, right? There's rest habits, there's nutrition, what you're putting in your body, what's your water intake, what are the other things that you're drinking, what are you eating, when are you eating, how often are you eating. So when we're talking sports performance, are you and your staff working through all that? Are you doing the nutritional, the rest? Like, are you talking to them about things beyond the training, so to speak?
So we definitely can give them the basics of nutrition. We do have a nutritionist on campus that if the student athletes wanted more in depth and more detail oriented with, say, they either needed to gain weight for, a certain reason, or they felt like they needed more protein in their diet, we can advise them
Yeah.
and let them make appointments with our on-campus nutritionist. But we can definitely give them basic guidelines for sure and teach them. And we do have. I was talking to Kara about Kara Gorgos about this too, like trying to get more information out on our Instagram page a little bit that way, since they're always on their phone, and inputting some more information that way for our student athletes this year, and doing little either quizzes and information tidbits just to get it out. It's more of that repetitiveness that they just need to hear over and over again. I'm sure they hear it at home, from their parents. They're going to hear it from the coaches. They're going to hear it from us. And it's a constant just reminder for them to make sure they're getting proper hydration, which a lot of them are definitely going to lack. Their sleep is the most important thing for them. So that's when your body is repairing itself from the day or the days.
Wow.
And the fueling, it's very challenging for them with their schedule. That's what I just hear them talk, and it's like, how have you not had anything yet to
Yeah.
eat?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's, like you said, there's so many layers, there's so many pieces to this when we look at sports performance. And you talked about you work to make it individual. You work to find what each person needs, but then you also look at a team, right? Like you just said, you spoke with Stephanie Allen, the women's lacrosse head coach for Binghamton University. So you're talking with Stephanie, and obviously, you have a regiment for her student athletes. We know people's bodies are different, and we know somebody might be really good at this and may need to do this more. Maybe this person stretches great, but they don't drink enough water. This person drinks enough water, but they don't get enough rest. So when you're trying to individually make sure that you're treating a person as like, this is Kim Smith, right? This is Steve Jacobs or whatever it may be, like names as an example, like this is an individual that I want to know. I want them to know I see them, I hear them, they matter to me, because the one-on-one is really important, but you also have to stay true to the team aspect of it all. So how do you balance individual and letting them know, like Lori Gleason is going to know who you specifically are, as many student athletes as there are, but then having the team? How do you balance team regimen with individual connection?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I have good relationships with our student athletes. I mean, last year, last year I had probably just slightly over 200 of my own
Okay.
that I dealt with. And I made it a point to, when those kids came in the weight room, that I would touch base with them. Just be like, hey, how was your day? Did you do this today? What did you have before practice? Like, what are your plans for after practice or after lift? Like, touch base with them. I don't know how, but somehow I know like what's been going on, if like injury wise with them. Um, so I really make a point to touch base with them one on one, even if it's just like, the team comes in, they're in their routine. I'll see, I'll kind of go around the weight room and just touch base with them. But then as a whole, as a team, usually when they're done with the lifts, they'll break it down. We'll kind of recap the lift a little bit, but then that's usually my time where I'm able to give them just little reminders of what they need to be doing, especially when it's in season. That's usually when I tend to just remind them about the recovery pieces, making sure they're going to bed at a reasonable time if they have an early practice, making sure they stay on top of their rehab work with sports medicine, all those little things which are super important and just to be reminded of daily.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a lot. People think they just wake up and they go play soccer. It's like, no, they have class, they have homework, they have personal lives, they have families, they have film study, they have
Yeah.
study hall, they have any extra help that they may need, they have lift, they have running, they have their nutrition side of things to make sure that they're eating correctly, practice. It's
I
not
don't know how they do it,
I,
to be honest.
it's insane.
It
So,
blows my mind.
Bearcat Breakroom, Lori Gleason, she's hanging out here with us in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. And of course, in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, your new Binghamton University head sports performance coach, but she's been there for a long time. We talked about you having 7 programs. Now you have 21. What are your thoughts on taking what you had and multiplying it by 3?
Yes. Um, no, it's great. In November, so my coworker Bill Bacon, he's been with us too. This is his 11th year. So we held things down. It was like the beginning of November, and both of us worked with our 21 teams. Until we were able to finalize some things, and we're working on getting a new assistant,
Yeah.
so we have 3 full time. But again, just like I talked about the communication piece with our coaches between our staff, that's the biggest change that I want to focus on, is like just we need to collaborate just as much as we need to collaborate with each other as a staff just as much as we have to do that with our coaches and our athletes. So really making sure that we are focused and know where everybody's at as far as, team lifts, programming. If we need to go over each other's programming, then we're going to do that. Just being on top of everything and knowing that we have to work together, and it's a team effort down there, 100%.
Why did you want to move from an assistant to the head sports performance coach? Why did you want to take this on?
I being at Binghamton for the last 20 years, almost 20 years. When I came into Binghamton, I honestly didn't know that I would be here as long as I have, but my husband and I obviously we settled down. Um, I and have our two kids, and I think it was in 2012, I actually interviewed at Cortland because they had a head position opened, and I felt like that was an opportunity for me as a female to be a head.
Yeah.
There are not many women strength coaches in the field, and there's not that many head women strength coaches in the field. And um, after, I went through the interview process, and I was there for an in-person, and it wasn't right. It wasn't a right fit for me at the time. And I'm happy at Binghamton. I go to work, but I don't feel like it's work. I said this the other day, like I walk in the building and I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
Every day is different. Um, Not a lot of people can say that, to be honest. A lot of people struggle with what they do day to day with
Yeah.
their jobs, and um, I definitely don't feel that way. And when this opportunity came up for me to apply for the position, um, I knew I would do a very good job with it because I feel like with the teams that I had over the past 10 years and the volume of student athletes that I've had, and I feel like I'm very much in tune with our student athletes,
Yeah.
and I'm a very personable person, and any of them can come to me and they know that they can. And I know that having that relationship and that somebody that you can go to just for a conversation piece, but also knowing that I'm going to push them and I'm going to push them to be the best that they can possibly be. It's been a very rewarding experience, like I said earlier, but I knew I could do the job. I was confident that I could do the job. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm very pleased and happy to be in this position right now.
Well, it sounds like you're not just doing it for you. It sounds like you want women to know, like, you can lead. You can be the head strength. You can be the head sports performance. You can be at the NCAA Division I level. Do you feel like you are a torchbearer in a way? Do you feel like, hey, I'm trying to shine a light. I'm trying to be a beacon of hope to tell people, like, don't pigeonhole yourself of, I didn't make my family doesn't come from this much money, or I don't have this background, or I wasn't a D1 athlete, or I'm a woman, or I'm from this back, or like whatever it may be that somebody thinks maybe holds them back. Because when there's not a precedent or there's not many, some people kind of just, I tell people all the time, I can't stand the statement, it is what it is. So I actually have a sign in my studio behind me that says it is what it is, but it will become what you make of it. So
Mhm.
do you feel like you are trying to be a beacon of hope and example to women out there to be like, hey, don't settle yourself short. Like, men, women, we can all do this thing. And I want to let you know that you can.
Yes, like it's, you know, it's been really interesting to see like over the past week just some of the messages that I've received from past athletes like 15 years ago,
Yeah.
and hearing them being like, Lori, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this is awesome news for you, and just reiterating just like what I did for them when they were there.
Yeah.
But the biggest message, like over the years, especially to our women athletes that I've had, a lot of women come in not knowing how to lift and are very intimidated by that area.
Yeah.
And man, are there some strong women.
Yeah.
Like just seeing them and build that confidence in the weight room and knowing that they can, achieve these weights that they didn't think they were able to achieve. Like that's what I want to be for them, is somebody who's pushing them to their limits and achieving what they're able to. And it's unreal to see some of these young women lift.
Yeah. I can say about my little sister, Franny, when she was, I don't even know, 18, 19 years old, she was deadlifting 315 and she weighed like I don't even know, 40. So, I mean, I told her, I was like, you can literally pick up two of me. And so, like, just insane. I tell her all the time, I'm like, hey, I'm here if you need me, if anybody comes at you sideways, but I know you got it. So, before we jump into rapid fire, Lori, why do you love it? Like you said, you've been at Binghamton for almost 2 decades. You're now stepping into the head sports performance coach role. You've had other opportunities before. You've been in the sports performance world for a very long time. You've been in the sports world almost your entire life. Why do you love the world of sports performance?
I just absolutely love watching these student athletes compete. I mean, the women's soccer program, I
Yeah.
took them over 5 years ago. And the first time I stepped on the sideline to watch one of their games, I was like, "Oh my gosh, these women are totally different animals." As soon as they step over that line on the field, watching their intensity rise, just laying their bodies out and just being competitive. It's just been awesome just to see the successes that we've had over the years and seeing them compete at this level. And again, like with some of the track athletes, the differences between team and individual sports, it's definitely different to see in the weight room.
Yeah.
It's a different environment,
Yeah.
and those individual athletes, your swimmers, your tennis players, your track athletes, like they absolutely have to put the work in the off season. And believe me, like, excuse me, if they don't, they're the first person to know that. And if they don't, work their butts off during their off season, it's going to show,
Yeah.
it's going to 100% show because in a race or in a match or a meet, like you're there and people are watching you specifically. So that's another message that I relate to those student athletes is like you need to put the work in because it's gonna show. We will know. And if you don't, then it's we have to take steps backwards. And we don't want to take steps backwards. So getting through to them and seeing them and seeing that light click and being like, okay, yes, I understand. This is what I need to do. Um, it's just an awesome environment to be in. Bill and I were just talking today because we just had, track came back and teams are slowly coming back. And he's like, man, it's great to have a busy weight room again.
Yeah. Yeah. And when student athletes want it, you will. So, what can you say about the Binghamton University student athlete? We know that on the student side of it, they're challenged. They're at one of the top 10 public Ivy League schools in the entire country. On the athlete side of it, being in sports performance for so many years and now being the head of sports performance at Binghamton University, how would you describe the level of talent, dedication, drive, and just overall essence of a Binghamton University student athlete? What should the nation know about the Bearcats?
Yes. Yes, their dedication to their sports and again, if they're individual athletes to their events, like it's just amazing to see. They, when they come back to campus, whether it's soon or in the fall semester, um, seeing the work that they put in and knowing that it's going to propel them forward to get to those championships, hopefully in the spring or the fall. Um, that's the drive, that's the momentum. And when we get there, it's a pretty awesome sight to see that all come to, just fruition, basically. Like, hey, I've put all this work in and now I'm here at this moment. And let's finish it. So they're definitely a hardworking. Again, I said it before, I don't know how they do it on a daily basis, but
Yeah.
it takes everybody to get them to that point.
Total team effort for the Bearcats throughout the entire sports performance, as well as the coaching staffs, the student athletes, the athletic trainers, the nutritionists, and of course the teachers and administration overseeing everything, and the president. So, with that being said, Lori, let's play some rapid fire. You get to ask the first question. We'll go back and forth. You can ask any topic, any question, and we have to
Okay.
answer them. What do you got?
Okay. Oh boy. Let's see. I know you've obviously interviewed a lot of individuals over the years. Is there one specific professional athlete that you would love to interview that you have not yet?
Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Breonna Stewart, Caitlin Clark. I would say probably those are the ones that hit me the most. I've been in the same room as Michael a couple times. I love to just pick his brain because he is the greatest ever. And I would like to sit down with Caitlin Clark just because I think what she's done for women's basketball is tremendous. And I'm a 3-point shooter. So I love that. Breonna
Mhm.
Stewart came from my hometown, played basketball with my cousin Sammy at
Oh, wow.
CNS. So I love to sit with her. I actually have over my shoulder, I have her autographed, sits here in my studio. I have a graded, it's a PSA 8 out of 10 Breonna Stewart autographed card of the number one overall pick.
Oh, wow. That's
So
amazing.
that sits right here with me. And yeah, Mike Tyson, because I don't know if anybody's ever like really told his story. So I would love to do that for sure. My question back to you, Lori. If you could sit at a table with any three people who have passed away,
Hmm.
what three people would you sit with and why?
I don't know why, but I had a feeling something along these lines would be asked of me.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I just had this like feeling a couple of days ago. Um, Honestly, nobody famous. It's my grandparents. Um, so my dad's mom passed away my senior year of high school, and then his father passed away. It was 2003. Definitely my grandma and grandpa Martin for sure. Um, And just because, so like I always remembered they would, when we lived in Massachusetts, they would come and visit us. And my grandma, they would always take us to the store, and my grandma would always get stuff to make banana cream pie.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even know the last time I had banana cream pie, but we always made that when they would come to visit us or we would visit them. And then my grandpa Martin, sometimes I get the smell of his pipe every once in a while. And he would just always sit in his chair and smoke his pipe
Yeah.
and have his flannel on and his corduroy pants. And yeah, it was just, you just miss that. It's been a long time. And it was, I wish my kids were able to know them and everything too. So, a third person, oh boy, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you kind of answered it. I mean, you said your grandparents, and
Yeah.
so I mean, I I was nodding the whole time. I'm sorry that they passed away. I am with you. I My grandfathers both passed away in '92 when I was 6. My dad's mom passed away when she was, I think, 87. And so that was in the 21st century here. And then my G mama, my mom's mom, she was almost 101. And I think about them every day. I've thought about my grandfathers pretty much every day for 30 some odd years. And when I took over my dad's parents' house, there was like this one period of time where for like a week or so, I would open up. So you had to open this door to get to my refrigerator, and the refrigerator was at the top of the landing to go down the stairs to the basement. So you
Hmm.
go in the kitchen, you'd open up the door, you go to the refrigerator, and then downstairs. So for like 7, 8 days, like 8 days, I opened up the door, and every time I opened the door and I turned my head, I could smell cigarette smoke, and nobody had smoked in there for decades. So I knew none of this. And so I said something, and they're like, yeah, when your grandfather went to the doctor and they gave him the nicotine patch, he used to keep the patch on and go downstairs in the basement and smoke when he had the patch on so that like nobody could smell it. And so now, decade upon decade later, I'm living in the house, and for like 8 days, he was in the basement smoking. Like,
That's crazy.
I know it's why, but that's why when you said the pipe, I thought of that. What's your
Yeah,
next?
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird, like how just really random occasions I tend to get like the smell of it, and I remember I don't know how many years ago it was, but across the PA border, it's called Smoke and Joe's or whatever,
Yeah.
and um my husband he went into this pipe phase, which lasted not a long time, and I don't know why he did that, but he found the same brand of tobacco that
Oh wow.
yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh. So that just brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah.
But
It's grandparents will do that, and
mhm.
I know they're all up in heaven, yours, mine, and so I know that when we smell them or we think of them or we sense them and just something about them, I fully know that they are visiting through that bridge that is a lot closer than people think it is by the grace of God. What's your next question for me?
Okay, I know you're a big Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite Italian dish? A favorite Italian dish and pastry.
Favorite Italian, it's got to be something with like just crazy amounts of seafood. So I would say like angel hair pasta with maybe like vodka sauce, mussels, clams, scallops, shrimp, lobster, and like haddock. Just put it all in there. And my favorite Italian dessert is the rigot pie I make in honor of my Gammy Miller, my dad's mom, and then also the pasta chot. Nobody knows what a pasta chot is until they have it, and it looks like a little pie, and it's either filled with like the rigot kind of like vanilla, or it's filled with chocolate, or I just had one that was filled with raspberry. The texture
Okay.
of it is fantastic. the flavor. It's heavy, it's dense, but it's like, it's so good. And they're not huge, but they're like heavy, like I said. So you eat one and you feel like, you try to make yourself eat it slow, because once it's gone, you want to like go to the store and buy another one. Like it's just, they're just so good. And everybody says cannoli because that's like the gateway drug to the Italian dessert cartel. But the reality of it all is it's the pasticcione. And
Okay, so
and
I'll
if
have
you
to
have
try and
rigat pie is the end game. You can't like
yes.
buy it anywhere. So
My mom and her siblings make that for like Easter
yeah, well, God
pies.
bless to them, because you like can't
Yes.
buy it anywhere. Nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say rigat pie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll only eat my mom's pie, ricotta pie.
Okay. Fair enough. I love that your mom makes it. Chat. What is your mom's first name?
Deborah.
That's my mom's name. Shout out to you, Deborah, for making rigat pie. I now know somebody else in 2026 that makes this pie. So God bless you, Deborah. I'd love to try it sometime and compare our recipes.
And
My,
ham and cheese pie.
what is it?
Ham and cheese pie for
Ham and
Easter.
cheese.
It's big.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah.
I've never had
It's
that.
all my mom's side of the family are Italian, so
Okay. All right. So, got to talk to Deborah. My last question for you: if you are on death row, and don't worry, because I'm Italian and Hispanic, I'm going to break you out. So, I tell you on the phone the last day of your death row, you say, I got until noon Eastern time. And I say, perfect. I'm going to wake up at 7. I got 5 hours to break you out. You need to create a long meal so that I can do what I need to do to get you out of the jail. I'm breaking you out, but what are you eating?
a long meal.
Yeah, you got
Oh
to
my
have
good.
courses here.
Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. Courses.
Yeah. And if anybody's listening from any type of law enforcement, this is a joke. This isn't real. And if and when anybody ever gets broken out of jail that knows me, please don't call me, because no comment.
Let's do like French onion soup, I guess. Let's try French onion soup.
Okay, I like it.
Um, let's do hmm. I would do chicken marsala
Okay.
with a side of just spaghetti,
Okay.
meatballs,
Okay.
Italian bread for sure.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna be really hungry, so we'll do a pot roast.
Okay.
Let's add that to the mix.
Okay.
Um, I forgot my salad, so we'll do a Caesar salad.
All right. Dessert.
Ooh, cheesecake with raspberry sauce on top.
And as you're getting that last bite of raspberry cheesecake, oh look, you're free now. So with that being
Thank
said,
goodness.
with that being said,
I
Lori
was
Gleason,
worried.
what'd you say?
I was worried.
No, I got you. With that being said, Lori Gleason here, new Binghamton University head sports performance coach, but not a new face to the Bearcats, overseeing all 21 of their programs. The Bearcat Breakroom showcasing Lori, congratulating her on the heels of the news of her becoming the head sports performance coach in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Lori, congratulations. I am so happy we got to do this. I'm happy you wanted to do it. and you did a tremendous job for somebody who told me she's just a tiny bit nervous. You did such an amazing job. So thank you for your time and congratulations again.
Thank you so much for having me.